With the latest news that has come out about the Pac-12 Conference, does it mean the Four Corner schools or even other schools from the Pac-12 could end up being even closer to joining the Big 12? Pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, Big 12 fans, and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz. Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Pull up a chair and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football content. In today's episode, we're once again talking Big 12 conference expansion, but we're talking about the fact, or the possibility rather, that the Big 12 could be inching a little bit closer to getting some of these Pac-12 schools that they have been reported to wanting to add. Now, that talk had kind of died down for a while, and there's still no guarantee that that's going to happen. But I'll tell you, the way the Pac-12 seems to be imploding and just continuing to have more and more problems, it makes me think that maybe there's some of these teams may just decide to throw in the towel, throw up their hands on the Pac-12 and say, you know what, we've had enough of this. We're going over here to the Big 12 because they seem a lot more stable and seem to have better leadership. So what's going on with the Pac-12? A lot of you may have already heard about this story, but I wanted to give you my thoughts on it. And for those of you who haven't, break the story to you. But apparently, there are two Pac-12 executives who have been fired for not reporting an overpayment from media rights distributors. And these executives, or at least one of them, were part of the Pac-12 network. And of course, the Pac-12 owns the Pac-12 network, so they are considered employees of the Pac-12 conference. This is not good. An overpayment was made to the Pac-12, apparently, from one of the distributors, the media rights distributors, in the amount of the number that's out there. Now, this has not been confirmed, but the number that is floating out there is $50 million. That's right. $50 million overpayment apparently has been made to the Pac-12 from one of their distributors. Now, it's not ESPN or Fox, so it's not exactly known who this is coming from. There is there is a good idea floating out there that it might be from Dish Network, but I'll get to that in a minute. But this information was found or was put out there by John Wilner of the Wilner Hotline through, I think it was the Mercury News. It's under a paywall, so I wasn't able to read the article for myself or share it with you. However, Bob Thompson was putting out some tweets about this. There's been other podcasters who have done shows about it, John Kurtz being one of them. But nonetheless, it's in the news. But let's look at some tweets from Mr. Bob Thompson. Bob says, he retweets a tweet from someone named Becky. He says, it is not good news for the conference from a financial standpoint. Those dollars will need to be paid back, probably with interest. Also, that means going forward, they aren't going to have those revenues. Don't know that it will have any effect on the media negotiation. So we all know the Pac-12 has yet to come to a deal, a financial deal with the media networks, ESPN, Fox, Amazon, whoever it is they're trying to negotiate with, to come to a media rights deal. They've not been able to finalize that yet. Could this impact that? According to Bob, it may or may not. My guess is it probably will not have a direct impact on it, but it will have an impact on their bottom line because the network, or I'm sorry, the conference is going to have to pay this money back to whoever that distributor was. He goes on to say, I think the Pac-12 networks is part of the Pac-12 properties, which is owned by the conference. So, yes, at the end of the day, they are responsible. Yes, USC and UCLA will owe as they are still part of the conference and were when this happened. So USC and UCLA are not getting out of paying this money back, if assuming this money went to the schools, that is. He also goes on to say, let's keep in mind that the Pac-12 networks launched in 2011. So the audit is done in 2017, and the auditor tells Pac-12 network they are getting overpaid. Nothing done. 2022 cable op calls foul. If since 2011 the forward exposure could be much smaller than $10 million per year, but $50 million is still the nut, according to the reports. Then, this is interesting. Someone named Hardcount puts this out. What about Dish? Maybe we now know why, allegedly, they were withholding programming fees that spurred the PAC to file a lawsuit. If they drop the suit soon, I think we'll have our answer. Then Bob says, seems like a lot of subs for Dish, but they sue a lot of folks. Can't believe it took them that long to figure it out. Dish would have been on it a year or so. But then he says this. Thinking about this, you are probably right. Pac-12 sued Dish in October of 2022. Dish probably launched an internal audit and discovered overpayments. Pac-12 claims the distributor, in quotes, informed them in October of 2022 of overpayments. Too much happening in October for it not to be Dish. So their speculation is out there now, thanks to Bob Uncover, actually Hardcount, I guess. Someone named Hardcount College Football on Twitter, kind of bringing this idea out, and then Bob Thompson seems to agree with it, that more than likely this is Dish that was the one who discovered this overpayment. Pac-12 releases their auditors said overpayment was in 2016, discovered in 2017, but nothing was ever done. Distributors' auditors discovered it in 2022, claims it began prior to 2016, and says amount is $50 million plus. Pac-12 has not confirmed the dollar amount, still not a good look. So, what does this mean? Like I said, it probably won't directly impact their media negotiations, but what happens is the conference will have to pay back this $50 million nugget to whoever the distributor was. The schools, if the money had already been distributed to the individual schools, then all 12 schools from the Pac-12 will have to pay their piece. Now, when you look at the media rights deal that they will probably sign, it will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $30 million per school, ballpark. $50 million divided by 12 is just a little over $4 million per school that they would be responsible for. And, that's not a huge chunk. If you break that out per year, it comes over a 5-year. Just you say they get a 5-year media deal, you break that out per year, it's less than $1 million a year per school. So not a huge hit. But to me, at least financially, but to me, what this does is it's just another black eye for the Pac-12. It shows that the Pac-12 leadership, it all goes probably back to Larry Scott when he was in charge. Pac-12 leadership just has not done a good job over the years. This whole Pac-12 network thing continues to be a problem for this conference, and the way it could impact them financially. One of the ways that the Pac-12 was kind of counting on and having a higher revenue stream or higher total revenue, in addition to their media rights package, with whether it be ESPN, Amazon, or whoever, was should have been able to monetize, or were hoping to be able to monetize the Pac-12 network. This could potentially hurt those chances. It could also mean they could end up making less money than the Big 12 at the end of the day. Because let's remember, when the Big 12, they just signed a brand new media deal worth about $31.6 million per school per year through 2031 or into 2031. That doesn't include the college football playoff money, and it doesn't include the NCAA tournament money. So when you add all that together, they're predicting to make about $50 million per school. If the Pac-12 is not able to monetize the Pac-12 network, they may not be able to get to that number. So if they're only able to get to, say, 40 to 45 million, who knows what, plus they may get less exposure by having to put a lot of their games on Amazon. Could that entice some of these schools, especially the four corner schools, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, maybe Utah? Could it possibly entice them to go to the Big 12? Now, there are some of those ADs, especially the Utah AD specifically, who's come out and said, we're not going anywhere. We're staying in the Pac-12. And I still think that's the most likely scenario to happen, because I think the Pac-12 will go out and add a couple teams, get back to 12, and try to stay the course, even if it means taking a small hit financially. I think they'd still rather stay together as a conference. But this does definitely throw a wrench into that idea, and it could cause teams maybe like in Arizona, who may have already had cold feet about staying. It could make them want to leave, and it also, because it may make them uncertain about the future of the conference. And it also could entice teams like, I don't know, Oregon or Washington to not want to sign that grant of rights deal, or at least not an ironclad grant of rights deal, because they still may be holding out hope to go to the Big Ten someday. Now, Kevin Warren taking a job in the NFL may throw that idea out the window as well, because it's come out that the Big Ten presidents don't want to expand, but they still may not want to sign a long-term ironclad grant of rights if they think there's a good chance they could go to another conference and make more money down the road. So I think this potentially opens the door to Brett Yormark and the Big 12 Conference to potentially be able to show that, hey, we're the stronger conference. We're the more stable conference. We have a better long-term plan here. We've already got a media deal agreed to. We don't have all this controversy going on behind the scenes. So I really think this really paints the Pac-12 in a negative light. Again, there's been all this stuff that just hasn't not been a good look to the Pac-12 Conference, and this just adds to that pile of things and continues to make their future look a little bit more bleak each and every day, it seems. I still think at the end of the day they'll hold on. I think the presidents will unite and want to stick together, and will probably be able to be willing to take a haircut financially to do so. But the problem is, how big of a haircut are some of these schools willing to take? That's the question. Let me know, Couz's Corner family, what do you think about this situation? Do you think this is bad news for the Pac-12? Do you think it opens the door for the Big 12 to go take a couple of these teams? I want to hear your thoughts on it. Also, don't forget to like this video. Give me the thumbs up button right underneath if you liked it. It only takes a second and it's free. Please subscribe to my channel. Help me get up to 5,000 subscribers. Please share this out with all of your college sports loving friends. Let them know about my channel. And if you want to support me financially, you can do that too. You can check out my merch store, link at the top of the description box. You can check out the Fanatics link in the description box to get your custom NIL jersey. If you're a West Virginia fan, that link takes you right to the West Virginia jerseys. If you're not a West Virginia fan, that still gets you into the website. You may just have to search for the team you want, but at least it'll get you to the site. And once you're in the site, if you buy something, I'll get a small commission from it. And you don't have to be a jersey. It could be anything on Fanatics. All that link does is get you into the site, and you can hit the super thanks button underneath. Make a one-time donation to my channel here as well. With that being said, I really appreciate you tuning in to Couz's Corner. Until the next episode, Q Country Roads.